Hey there, Mike Zuber, author of One Rental at a Time, and I have a special treat for you today. I'm actually up in Oakland, California with the team at Roofstock. And with me today is Zach. And how you doing this morning, Zach?
Excellent, Michael. Thank you for having me.
Oh, absolutely. This is going to be a lot of fun, I think, because I think Roofstock is doing some pretty impressive things with residential investment properties that we're going to get into. But before we do that, why don't you introduce the world to who Zach is and what you do here at Roofstock?
Thank you. Yeah, so I am the Director of Client Advisory Services. So what that means, obviously a long title, my team and I are tasked with helping investors of really all experience levels build passive income through real estate and do it through our marketplace.
Yeah, and I like the tagline, if I remember it from this morning's review, is helping investors create wealth with real estate.
Correct,
right?
Yes. Creating wealth is a big part of it. Yes.
As it should be, right? I mean, why else would you get into rental properties and be a landlord if you're not trying to do this for a bigger picture, right?
Exactly right.
Exactly. Well, the first thing we should talk about is I understand you're a landlord yourself. So
Yes.
you own some rental properties. So
I do.
What do you have? Where are they at? What's that been like?
Yeah, my wife and I own, we just bought our 10th and 11th single family homes. We also own an apartment building here in the Bay Area.
Oh, nice. Okay.
So we own single family homes in Atlanta.
Okay.
We have 4 there, 3 in Central Florida.
Okay.
2 in Ohio, and I guess 6 in Atlanta. So Atlanta's our biggest market.
All right.
And then Florida, and then just closed escrow this month on one in Cincinnati.
Wow. So geography dispersed.
Yes.
That's
yeah.
cool.
I've become a little more, a little less kind of focused on markets and
Okay.
a little more deal focused.
Nice.
These are properties I've all bought through Roofstock.
Right.
And as an employee at Roofstock, we have certain rules on how long we have to wait, and the seller has to prove that it's an employee purchased property. I mean, the one I bought in Cincinnati was on our site we could talk about it, but it was sitting on our site for almost 4 months, and I thought,
why isn't anybody getting that?
Yeah, I believe I bought a screamer, and we can talk about it. But
yeah. Well, let's talk about how long has it been. So you bought your first rental how long ago?
I guess my absolute first one 15 or so years ago.
So you've been in it for a while.
Correct.
Very
yeah, and before this, I did my first transaction my junior year in college.
Okay. Oh, cool.
Yeah, helping one of my roommate's one of my roommate's parents with the transaction.
Okay.
And then I did commercial real estate appraisal. And then I did multifamily brokerage.
Sure.
Back in Contra Costa County.
Oh, yeah.
And then I did luxury sales for a year or two and decided I am not good at talking to people about drapes and things like that. It was just not a good fit.
You like the business, but that stay away from that stuff.
Exactly. And then I really found my passion, and where I connected, I started working for a company called Waypoint Homes.
Oh, yeah.
So after the crisis, started buying single family homes, renovating them and renting them out.
Very cool.
Did that for about 4 years, and then joined CEO of that company, Gary Beasley, as he started Roofstock. So I was the 3rd employee here, so I've seen us grow, which it's been a really fun ride.
Been a fun ride, right?
Yeah.
So let's close out on your story first, and we'll get into Roofstock because there's so much there on Roofstock. So let's talk about this screaming deal.
Yeah.
What's a screaming deal to you? So let's talk about this Cincinnati thing.
Yeah. So purchase price was $80,000.
Okay.
Put 25% down. So put $20,000
Yeah.
down.
Gotcha.
It ended up appraising for 102.
Not a bad thing.
Yeah. Purchase price 80. Appraised for 102.
Okay.
So some instant equity there. The current tenant had been in there since 2014.
Oh wow. Okay.
And their rent was $800 a month.
Yeah.
It was on a month-to-month lease.
Yeah, of course.
So I just had the property manager go out there and run some comps, and he thinks market rent's $13.95.
Round numbers 14.
Yeah.
That's a little bit more.
Yeah. So I offered that current tenant $1,100.
Okay.
Which felt like below market value.
But they don't move.
She's been a great tenant. If I can keep her in there, great. But having $500 variance is probably a little too much. So, but that makes it like a 9 or 10 cap. And I think going in, it looked like a 5 cap.
Right.
But people being able to see that, hey, these are not, you're not buying a bond that's going to be at 5% forever.
Exactly.
There's upside in rents and values and ways to create those things.
And that's where, because I talk to investors all over, right?
Yeah.
And what people really need to understand is this real estate does have ways to increase value. Most people think when they look at bigger pockets, they're doing forced appreciation with repairs.
Correct.
But sometimes the easiest answer is raise the rents.
Yeah.
Right? So if you go from 800 to 11 or 800 to, if she leaves, 800 to 14, sure, you have to do some repairs probably for the next one.
Exactly.
But, you're already sitting on 22K in equity. It already cash flows now.
Yeah.
Right? So I'm guessing you had a 30-year fixed mortgage?
Correct.
Right? Something in the fives or maybe
yeah, it ended up at 4.65.
Oh, 4.65.
Yeah. So I mean, I was actually very, very surprised that I hadn't bought a property in probably 6 months.
Okay.
I think the one before this, I was in the mid fives.
Yeah.
And I knew rates had ticked down, but I shopped the loan pretty hard.
Okay.
Especially for that price loan, like I get $500,000-$600,000 loans have come down, but this is it was an itty bitty, $60,000 loan.
Yeah.
So
yeah. That's
very happy with that.
That's a great story. So clearly been in the business a long time. You have 10 rentals. You're diverse, right? So how much time are you spending on, right? Because are you vetting tenants? Are you approving requests? Or I mean, what does that look like?
No, I probably spend 3 hours a month max.
Yeah.
And that is only if there's a tenant moving out and I need to look at rent comps and things like that, but totally use third-party property managers.
Yes.
I have it all connected to my bank accounts. Yeah. I get ping when rents are paid, and it's totally passive.
Yeah, that's a big thing that I think a lot of busy professionals need to appreciate is that a lot of the negativity around rentals is people are pitched this time-consuming thing.
Yeah.
Right? It takes time. Right? With your 10 properties, you're doing 3 hours a month. I have 175 doors, and maybe it's 8 hours a month.
Yeah.
But that's not horrible.
No.
Right? For all this appreciation and all this
exactly, and all the cash flow you're getting. Yeah, it's funny. I finally got my parents to start buying rental properties.
That's great.
And forever, I know I would talk to my parents about it. My dad would say, I'm not a handyman. I don't want to be woken up with tenants' calls and things like that. I'm focused on my career. Yeah. And I finally got him to buy one, saying, hey, there's now more technologies and property managers can handle that. They bought 5 now using self-directed IRA. Yeah. They're buying them, just for cash flow. But yeah, it's totally different mindset now.
Yeah, that's awesome.
What you can do.
So let's talk about Roofstock, because I've checked out Roofstock. I think you guys are doing some pretty cool things. I actually see it as a 100% outsider. It's kind of the LoopNet for residential investors.
Yeah.
Because if I've used LoopNet way back in like 06, 07, 08, where it was kind of the catalog and all of that. It really hasn't changed much.
Yeah.
But what I see you bringing to the table is that kind of same collection of multiple markets, right? You're not just one MSA, and you're putting out lots of different property types and those things. So is that a fair thing to say, or am I wrong?
Yeah, I think you're partly right, maybe partly wrong.
Go for it.
I'd say we do hear that comparison. It's like a LoopNet or an MLS for occupied properties.
Yeah.
Yes, but think about if on LoopNet you could also make an offer directly through the site.
Yeah.
And it's also a curated marketplace.
Okay.
LoopNet, a lot of these sites kind of just
broker's license, throw it out, right?
Pray and pray, and it's a bunch of stuff, limited information. You don't really know what you're buying.
Yep.
Every property on our marketplace has made it through a curation process.
Okay.
It's called the Roofstock certification.
Well, let's talk about that, because that's kind of the different thing, right? If I'm a tech worker, right, we're sitting in Oakland today. If I'm in Oakland or San Francisco or this other parts of the valley, and I'm looking to deploy capital, right, which some of these folks are coming off stock grants or whatever, they're going to be pretty liquid here soon.
Yeah.
What does that look like? Because that should be a big deal to people. What does that curated process look like?
Yeah, so approximately 3 in 10 properties make it through that certification process and make it onto our site.
Okay.
So you have a property, say you wanted to sell.
Okay.
The first thing we do is we take information along, your tenant ledger, your lease information. We will then ask you, about the condition of the property. So we take all that information out, and then we will actually go out there and review all those things. So we certify based on the lease, the tenant, the home, as well as 2 certified property managers. So we send a third-party inspector out there. If there's any issues with, mold or foundation or anything like that, we'll ask you to make these repairs, or it won't make it onto our site.
Okay.
If we review the lease and it's not up with like city, county, state ordinances, it's a 1-page lease and there's
it's
just
handwritten,
no clause that's ever going to work in court there, not going to make it onto our site.
Okay.
Now, if we can't verify that the tenant is current on the rent, they could be late, but are they, up to, like, are they up on their rent payments in terms of current?
A month behind or something, yeah.
We're trying to avoid you buying a property and running into an eviction,
right away, yeah.
We don't want to be the site where I have an occupied home, this one's a headache.
Yeah,
you
get
guys
rid of
sell
it
for us.
Oh, you don't want to be a dumping ground.
Yes.
Oh,
we are not passing someone's headache on to the next person. So
That's
it's
great.
a highly curated marketplace, and you can make the offers right through our site.
That's actually something I frankly missed. I didn't make the connection. But that is so valuable, right? The ability to make the offer right from the site, right? And you're right, you don't get that from LoopNet. You got to, click, call the broker or whatnot, and deal with that kind of headache. So that is definitely a unique advantage, and I missed it. That's pretty powerful.
Yeah.
And to be able to curate the inventory that hits it again is a unique thing, because again, I've looked at LoopNet for over a decade now, and it's not curated. It's kind of everything, and frankly, in today's market, that's where I think multifamilies are overpriced. It is, there's not a lot of great stuff there.
Correct.
You're not, like your example of 80 grand for 102 appraisal, that's not making it to LoopNet, right? That's some pocket listing for some broker somewhere.
Exactly.
So it's a very different ballgame. And that's what people need to realize is the market cycles are different. So one thing I'd love to think about, because you've been in the game 15 years like me, is Roofstock wasn't around in 08, correct?
Yeah.
Let's pretend it's 09, right? So it's starting to, right, because 09 was the start of the drop, right? So in my market, Fresno went from, I sold a house at 260 that ultimately came down to 115 by like 2010. So let's put it at 200, so it's on the way down.
Yeah.
How do you think Roofstock behaves in an environment where the market just is different? It's not a seller's market, right? It's a buyer's market.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's always going to be, when there's an adjustment in a market, you kind of have that period where both sides are trying to figure each other out a little bit. Like sellers may be coming a little high, and then their property sits, and then you have to kind of reevaluate both sides, and you end up with those people who are really looking to sell. I'd say the big difference on our side, or for me, so for instance, that Cincinnati property I purchased, I have a 30-year fixed rate loan at 4.6%. I'm making $300 or $400 a month in rents, right? Those rents would have to drop basically in half for me to be negative per month.
Sure.
If that property goes to 120 or 60, it's paper money. I don't really care. I'm buying this to pay off, my daughter's college fund.
Yes.
So I'm gonna be worried about that in 30 years, but I'm getting that cash flow every month.
Exactly.
I have a 30-year fixed rate loan. The rents are well above, all of my costs.
Yeah.
Plus, if you look back to that time, rents were still up, between 1% and 3% per year.
Absolutely were.
We have a chart we show everybody, and you see prices like this, and you see rents. They weren't skyrocketing, but they were pretty flat, if not going up, and maybe there's more demand for rentals because there's less people buying. Yeah,
I think that's what investors need to hear or remember, that all they remember is their house was worth less.
Yeah.
Right? Yes, the owner-occupied market got hit hard, right? Your balance sheet was hit hard. But if you were landlords like us, it didn't matter. All of my single families went up because rents went up.
Yeah.
They went up 5 or 6% for me.
That's great.
But more importantly, when I did have a vacancy, tenant quality went up.
Yeah.
Because people were moving downscale, right? I was investing in what I see on Roofstock, which is that affordable housing market, right?
Yep.
I wasn't playing in the Park Place and Boardwalk, right? I was, I don't know what those little Indiana or whatever those orange and red ones were, right? Whatever those are on the Monopoly board. And that's what I think people need to miss, because the number one question I get on my YouTube channel is, what if the market crashes?
Yep.
And that's what we need to have that exact conversation is, okay, yeah, it could happen.
Yeah.
But remember, you're an investor. There's some paper balance sheet differences.
Exactly.
But you're playing this for cash flow. So I thought that was a great example. So one thing I think about Roofstock is, okay, you're doing the curation, so you're controlling quality. But you also have two sides. You have the supply side, which I guess is that curated list where you have turnkey providers and people liquidating portfolios, I'm guessing, right? So help me understand who your kind of target buyer is on the other side of that equation.
Yeah, I mean, it's really anybody looking to build wealth through real estate, but I think where we really connect with people are busy professionals who, very similar to people who are buying turnkey homes, right? Yep. Turnkey is kind of a loose definition, but it's become a lot of these companies that are selling a house in a box, right? It comes with property management and a tenant. A little bit difference between us is we're not the same company leasing it, doing the rehab, all that. We're trying to connect both sides.
Yes.
In a certified fashion. But in terms of the demand, I think it's a lot of people who are professionals. They're making good money. Maybe they're even renting in San Francisco or Oakland.
It's fine, yeah.
It's $800,000 to buy a single family home and the same price to buy an investment property, when they can buy outside their local market, diversify, and still really good cash flow, and start to build that passive income towards those goals. What's really important to us is so many of these companies kind of you hear the kind of dumb California money.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? Like, we are not setting people up to see a property for $65,000 in Memphis and say, because it's $65,000, it's a good deal.
Yeah.
No, it's a good deal because the other comps are 90, so $65,000 is a good price. So we want to make sure buyers have all that good information, so that's going to be a good investment today, as well as 10 years down the line.
Yeah, the other thing I saw in Roofstock that I don't see in turnkey providers, you sort of hit it, but I want to make sure it's out there, is it's not all you, right? So you have at least the opportunity to play with numbers and create artificial gain, and that whole stupid California money is real.
It is. I totally agree.
It's, you know, and again, I'm here now. We're both here now in May, and somewhere between now and kind of May next year, there's about a lot of cash is going to be unlocked in the IPO market.
Yeah.
Please don't be that dumb California money and get taken advantage of, because it's going to happen, unfortunately. So the other thing I want to hit on is, I think it's a great move to keep renting in San Francisco or Oakland or the Bay.
Yeah.
And you know, build a portfolio elsewhere. I think that is a strategic decision. I'm guessing it's hard. I mean, swallowing that pill could be hard for some people. But let's tell them what life could be like, right? Let's take $500,000 or $200,000 and go, how many assets do you think somebody could get? Let's say $200,000.
Yeah. So say you have $200K to invest, and you're open to leveraging
yes,
that.
Correct.
So say you leverage that up 400 or 4x, right?
4x,
Put
25%
down.
Perfect.
So you have $800,000 to invest.
Perfect.
Our average purchase price is about $120,000.
Okay.
So you could buy,
let's call it 7.
Yeah. So you could buy 7 single-family homes.
Yep.
Through that, right? You can get into, generally we try to say 2 or 3 markets to pick, at least to start, because you don't want to end up with, 7 homes across the country.
Yeah.
Obviously, I'm starting to do a little bit of that. I've been doing this for a little bit longer, because you want to have 1 or 2 property managers to connect with.
Okay.
It can become a little more time intensive if I own in all these different markets and I have 7 different property managers.
Different rules and people and contacts and all that.
Yeah, so you could end up with 7 different properties, say in Indianapolis or Birmingham, right?
Yep.
These are markets that are less strongly correlated to tech.
Yes.
Right? So
good point, actually. Yeah.
If I live in San Francisco, maybe I have my primary residence, I work in tech, I work for a startup, all my eggs are in that basket.
Oh, so true.
But if I buy in Indianapolis or Birmingham, there's some nice correlation outside of tech. I'm diversifying in different markets, and now I own 7 homes. I've put myself to work, put that cash to work, a little more diversified. Plus now I have my tenants paying my mortgage. Yeah. And I'm getting, a nice
so let's just talk
$300 a month in cash.
Yeah, so let's just use your 7 of your 10 properties, your first 7 or whatever. So you've got 7 properties, you've taken that $200K, leveraged it and created 7 properties. Let's say 2 markets, 4 and 3. They're going to probably be looking at $2,000 to $2,500 positive cash flow, roughly. Yeah. There's obviously exceptions in bad months, but that's better than, hey, I just bought an $800,000 house in the Bay, and I have a now a $10,000 property tax bill, and
exactly
all these other things, right? And that's just what people need to realize. You don't have to buy in the Bay, right?
Correct.
I understand home ownership and all of that. I get it, but sometimes it's not the right financial move.
Yeah.
And I'm just afraid the Bay Area is about to go through another blip up, and it's already unaffordable, right? It's already like 13 or 14% affordability.
Very hard to sustain that.
It's not sustainable.
Yeah.
Can it go on? Can it be stupid a little while longer? Yes. But it will. The party will end, right? New Year's eventually ends, and it's a horrible. I mean, I invested through it, so I saw people go bankrupt. Worth $10 million, go bankrupt in 9 months when the dominoes fell last time, and I don't want that for people. So I'm trying to get them to think, yes, you have a once in a lifetime IPO wealth.
Yeah.
Take care of your family for decades to come. Don't go compete with people.
Yeah.
And get the next house.
You don't need to be the 17th offer on a high rise in San Francisco when you could diversify some more.
Yeah, it's okay. So when you think about Roofstock and where you are, and you're curating the quality, you're trying to help people build wealth, which is so admirable. Where do you think people fall down and kind of get stuck in analysis paralysis?
Yeah, I think a couple things. I think one, kind of seeing who your mentors are or who you're learning from.
Yeah.
I think obviously you have a really good approach to it. I think there's a lot of people that do this in a smart, strategic way, thinking long term. Mm-hmm. I think if people go onto, like Bigger Pockets and some of these sites, and they have so many people telling them what to do, and say property has to have a 2% rule. Don't buy it unless you get, $1,500 a month in cash flow. Other than that, it's not a good deal.
Yeah.
And knowing that a lot of people are giving you their opinion, but maybe they don't buy properties, and it's so easy to listen to everybody and not take action and just think, the market's too frothy right now, and that's my self-justification. It's almost like, why am I not going to the gym right now? I'm just too tired, or whatever it might be. It's so easy to tell yourself, I'm going to wait till the market's changed and to push this off.
Yeah.
But think about, take a step back. Why are you doing this? What are your goals? And I think also look at the data, like you mentioned, of what happened during the last downturn and rents. So I think people just not having a thesis. So what we're trying to really help people do is come in and understand, what are your goals? Mm-hmm. Have a thesis. Mm-hmm. Understand your investor profile. Like, when do you need the cash flow? Yeah. My parents are buying properties, they need the cash flow sooner, so they're buying a certain type of property. Right. For those people we're talking about who are in their late 20s, early 30s, who are coming onto properties, I think they should be buying a little bit nicer property, maybe taking a little lower cap rate. Absolutely. And I'm talking $200,000 properties. Yep. Because they're thinking a little bit long term and seeing the rent increases take of that. So I'd say, understand who you're listening to. Yep. Have they done it? Is it based on experience? And then try to have a thesis and understand the pros and cons of those strategies. Yeah, the other thing I think is out there, and I've been on Bigger Pockets. I was a featured blogger for them back in, it was 07, 08. Went to was one of their presenters at their first event in Colorado, so I know that community. A lot of the answers that I see on there now, if they're coming from people that did it, they're kind of using 2010, 2012 numbers, talking about this 2% rule specifically. That one bugs me. I bought lots of stuff in California, the 2% rule, specifically Central Valley, so let's not call it Bay Area, for the 2% rule. Can't do it today. Yeah. Right? So sometimes I hear people answering, and I know them based on the history and seeing their chats and their communication over the years. Yeah, that was true, but you're forgetting to tell them that was 2010. Correct. Right? It is different. And let's not forget, lending was very different. Why I tell people to get in now is you can get fixed rate loans below 6, below 5 in your case. I know. Son of a gun. So it's fixed rate. You're in an inflationary environment. Rents are going up. Yep. And lending is relatively easy, certainly for the first 4. Yeah. It wasn't like that in 10. You had to go private money. You had to go hard or have cash for the 2% roll. Exactly. And people suddenly forget those extra details, and that's unfortunate. And I think they're misleading people, just by quoting something that worked in 10 that's not reality today. Yeah, and now if I see a property, I think a lot of people will dive towards, and you and I have talked about this, kind of those $50,000, $60,000 homes. Yeah. Because I just come on and I see a cap rate or a cash on cash, but they just do not understand the cons of buying that type of house. Yeah. And so we are really trying to stress to people, if that's your strategy and you understand the pros and cons of buying lower priced homes, great. Go ahead and execute on that. It is a strategy. It is a strategy, but understand that rents don't grow as quickly. Tenants are going to higher likelihood of evictions. Cash flow is less consistent because they're a little more paycheck to paycheck. Yeah. So great if that's your strategy, but understand the cons. But don't buy a $60,000 home and have a 60-hour-a-week job and expect it to be super passive. Yes. Buy a little bit nicer home. That's what people need. That's what people need to hear here. Because that's who I was. I was a 60-hour-a-week job. Yeah. I traveled 100,000 miles a year, at least on airplanes, which is in addition to that 60 hours. Usually left on Sundays, so I had Saturday. Yeah. Had a growing family responsibility. There's no way in heck I should be looking at $50,000 or $60,000, even if it's a 15 cap rate. Yeah. Because now I can say that having the experience, right? Because evictions are higher, but it's the turnover. That's what people don't get. Turnover kills landlords. Period. End of story. And then it becomes a job. I would either give up and sell the house at a loss, or I would suffer at my day job, which I rely on for the income to stay in my nice house in Mountain View. Exactly. These are not good trade-offs. Yeah. You, as a full-time employee who's working 60 hours a week in tech, who gets these 90-day chunks of stock rolling off, you need the lowest time-consuming thing. And if you get a 6 cap or even a 5 cap, but you still have somebody else buying 70% of your asset, thumbs up. Exactly right. Let's go. And that's what I see what Roofstock is doing for folks. Is that fair? Yeah, no, totally. So we have kind of 3 different profiles. We put someone into someone who's a cash flow investor. Mm-hmm. someone who's a total return investor, and then someone who's a little more focused on appreciation. And we kind of put people into those buckets.
All right, so tell me about each.
Based on their time horizon.
Oh, a time horizon.
So if you said, hey, I need a certain amount of cash flow right now in the next 6 months to 3 years, we'd say, okay, you should be buying a certain type of property because we need to help you hit that cash flow number. Okay. If you have a 3 to 7 year time horizon, I think you're going to buy more like $100,000 to $120,000 homes. Okay. Maybe 6 or 7 cap because you need a little amount of cash flow right now. Appreciation's nice, but I don't have a super long time horizon. But if I have a 10 or longer time horizon, then I should be a little more focused on appreciation, higher quality properties, and also some rent growth. So I could buy that $200,000 home in Dallas. That's maybe a 5 cap now. Right. But rents in Dallas are going up, 5%, per year. Seemingly, and so before you know it, now I own a nicer home in a nicer neighborhood. Yeah. And it's a 7 or an 8 cap because I had a little time to be patient on my rents. Yeah. Plus that property is more liquid. The other problem with those lower priced homes is if I want to sell it, it's very, very hard to sell. Yeah. Really my only exit is to other investors.
No question. Yeah.
And it's going to be worth $60,000. I mean, our CEO is from Gary, Indiana. Yeah. And he was joking we had some properties on our site, which are great because of the cash flow they provide. Yeah. But he was saying, we looked at a $40,000 home, and he said, yeah, I think that home was worth $40,000 when I was in high school as well.
Yeah. Not a lot of appreciation. Huh?
Exactly. Really strong cash flow, and again, if that's your thesis, great. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So what I'm hearing you say, and I didn't appreciate this coming to this interview, is if I'm looking to buy and be an investor, I could come to you to help figure out which of those 3 boxes I fit in, because maybe I don't know. Maybe I think I'm on a 10-year horizon, but everything I answer is I want cash flow now. They can speak to someone at Roofstock and figure that out.
Definitely, yeah. That's what my team is doing all day. We've done webinars on the exact thing, but yeah, my team is speaking with people. That's really their advisor role, is to help you understand your strategy, your timeline, and the pros and cons of this different.
So let's assume dozens of people watching this at least go, hey, I don't know who I am, but I'm about to be one of those tech workers. How do they reach out to Roofstock? How do you want them to reach out, say, help me understand which bucket I fit in? How do they do that?
Yeah, they can email me directly, just Zach, Z-A-C-H, @roofstock.com. Also, if you go onto our site, you can schedule an appointment right through there.
Oh, perfect.
And we have a couple different appointments you can schedule. If you are brand new to real estate investing, you can schedule a call and we're going to go over certain type of things with you.
Oh, that's awesome.
If you're a little more experienced and you say, I'm ready to get started, then we're going to help you get pre-approved and start to show you relevant opportunities.
Awesome.
We also do some longer term strategy calls. If say you own 8 properties and you're thinking, hey, I'm starting to get to this 10 loan limit. Yeah. And I want to talk about non-conventional loans and LLCs and things like that. Yep. We have that type of call. So really, where you're at in the path, we have a call for you.
Right. So let's set this up. Let's say I'm about to walk into, let's use the $200,000 example in October of this year, right? 6-month cliffs, all these companies going public. Yeah. They come out. So let's just say I see myself having $200,000 liquid in October and I see this in May. What should I be doing?
Yeah, go onto our site, probably start with some of our webinars, because we have webinars that talk about state of the market, understanding key investor terms. And then once you're kind of in that, I'd say 90 or so day window, reach out to someone on our team and we can kind of put you on a path where we maybe have a call every couple weeks. Okay. You now understand the markets, your thesis, and then when those funds come, you now are going into our site and the real estate investor world knowing who you are and what you're looking to buy. Because even at Roofstock, say we have 500 properties, that can be a ton if you don't know what you're looking for.
Yes.
Because you'll make an offer on a $60,000 home and then one on a $250,000 home, or you just won't make an offer at all because you don't really know the pros and cons and you don't have your thesis. But if I come in with my thesis, and I'm really ready to go.
Yeah, and what I would tell you, if that happens to be you and you have that money coming available later, I'm picking October artificially, I would do all this work before that date, because I invested in the .com craze. That's how old I am. And I saw people, they didn't do any research until they had money, and then it was literally burning a hole in their pocket and they made dumb decisions. Exactly. So you don't have the money now, but do the research so you can get on the path. You can the webinars, you can get on this glide path, as opposed to going, oh my gosh, it's in my Schwab account or E-Trade account or whatever. Yeah. And I got to spend it, or
all my
I have
friends
to
are
invest
doing
it.
this, now I got to get into it, and then I start. That's when you make bad decisions.
Yeah, I would do all the research now. And again, how do they get a hold of you?
Yeah, just Zach Evanish, ZACH at roofstock.com. Check out our website. You can also schedule a call with anybody on my team right through there.
And the website is?
Roofstock.com.
I love it. Well, thank you very much, Zach. This has been a lot of fun telling me your story, what you're doing here at Roofstock. I see nothing but success in front of you. And thanks for correcting me on LoopNet. I missed that. That was pretty awesome. All right, everybody, have fun. Take care.
Thanks a lot.